What's up, everybody? Tom Pelissero here with Judd Zulgad. Shortly after the Vikings find a way to lose again to the Denver Broncos. It's unbelievable, Judd. When you look at the final numbers, the Vikings had 27 first downs to the Broncos 13. They converted 40% of their third downs. They racked up 489 net passing yards, but they basically hand the Broncos 7 points early and 3 points late on a couple of turnovers. And they allowed Tebow to do whatever he wanted to do, throwing against them in the second half.
And it's interesting, everyone on the defense that I talked to in the locker room afterwards says the Broncos didn't change a thing in the second half. Well, if the Broncos didn't make any alterations in the second half, that is more damning of the Vikings defense than anything, because these guys played a good first half and could do nothing right. And do you remember a couple of years ago, the Williams Wall, when this team could actually stop the run? You could now run up the middle against the Vikings almost as much as you want, and even with Kevin Williams in there's nothing they can do about it.
And let's not forget the fact that Tebow didn't do much damage with his legs. 4 rushes, 13 yards. He also had the 2-point conversion. But Willis McGahee, 20 carries, 111 yards. That's a 4.6 clip. He scored a touchdown. It's the 24-yarder where he breaks a tackle. I think it was by Sanford around the 15-yard line. They were gashing him between the tackles. And when you see that, particularly in the second half, they didn't do it in the first half, but they came right out and immediately they could hit whatever they wanted to in terms of rushing the football. The Vikings couldn't really run the football for a lot of today, so they go to the air. Both teams threw all they wanted to in the second half, but the Vikings made a couple of huge errors. Christian Ponder made a couple of huge errors, and that's a big difference in the game.
This was an entertaining second half, but let's be clear, it was also a terrible football game. This was, if you're going to put together,
if you're going
to put together a video of how not to play football, this was it. And I know we're going to have to hear for the next week now Tim Tebow, 6-1 as a starter. Let me tell you this right now. Tim Tebow's success today, and God bless him for being successful. I know we all want to. His success today was based on a defense that completely fell apart. For whatever reason, the Vikings, because it's not like they're getting blown out every week. Yeah, they're getting blown out a few times here, a few times there. But for whatever reason, this team cannot complete the deal. They just find new ways to lose on a weekly basis. And you're almost sitting there today in the fourth quarter again saying, all right, what are they going to do to lose this game? Sure enough, they did.
Well, let's look at some of the decisions down the stretch. I think I tweeted with about 4 minutes to go, the Vikings are going to win this game if they don't do something colossally stupid. Well, what do? They're at the 9-yard line. Gerhardt finally does have some momentum going. They're finally starting to run the ball between the tackles a little bit. I shouldn't completely rip the Vikings running game. Gerhardt had 21 carries for 91 yards, which isn't bad. But so what do? 3 consecutive passing plays. One of them ends in a sack. The other 2 are incompletions. They run no time off. The Broncos don't have to use any of their timeouts. They settle for a field goal and leave Tebow over 3 minutes to be able to go down the field.
Way too much time. And then clock management again, too, right?
And that's the other one,
Because we get back to the end of the game. The Broncos get the ball on the interceptions late in the game with about 1:33 left. Jared Allen said the first thing he thought is, let's let him score. Let him score. We'll get the ball back as quick as possible. See if we can go down the field. Now, I know it would have been easy for the Vikings. It would not have been to go down the field. But let's be honest. The Broncos defense was terrible, too. Your only shot at that point was to give up the points and to try and get back down the field yourself. And Leslie Frazier says, no way we're going to do that. We are not going to let them score. They don't. What happens? Matt Prater kicks the game-winning field goal with 0 time left on the clock.
And it was 1:25 when Denver got the ball back. And at that point, I can understand play some defense because you've got 2 timeouts. But when ball runs for 11 yards on 2nd and 10 to get the ball to the 4, there's a 1:12 left when you use that timeout. Let them score on the next snap. You'll give yourselves about 1:06. It's almost this contradictory logic, because what did Frazier say about the fact they turned Ponder loose to throw on first down that led to the interception, which was, we've been moving the ball all over the place. We felt very confident we could go down the field. So now with 30 fewer seconds, you feel you have a better chance to block a chip shot field goal, which the kicker is always going to kick straight up in the air anyway, than you do about being able to go 80, 75 yards down the field and also give Percy Harvin another chance to return a kickoff? That's tough. That's a tough call to me.
Well, and let's be honest, once the Broncos got really deep in territory, they were going to score. You knew they were going to score.
Yeah.
So you just let them score. It's not that tough to figure out. It's another thing, Tom, that concerns me about Les Frazier is it's another one of those situations where the first guess is he should do this and he doesn't. It's not like in hindsight you're saying to yourself, they should have let them score and I just realized it. You're saying this as the game is going on, just like the Tampa Bay deal where they didn't call the timeouts there and they didn't have enough time left. It's another situation where you are first guessing the coach and you shouldn't be able to do that so easily.
And there seem to be 1 or 2 of those every single game the entire season. Now, let's be clear here. I don't think that coaching is the number 1 issue with this team. They have a lot of personnel shortages. We saw it again in the secondary, but you put on your base call over and over. The offense continues to pick it apart. You can yell in players' faces all you want, play the defense.
Right.
But if the opponent knows exactly what the defense is coming, the Vikings did not mix up their coverages. They played, I know there was one time I pointed out to you, they ran a man blitz with Jared Allen dropping on somebody on a drag route.
Yep.
They did mix it in early, but in the second half, they went back into this, we've got the lead, we're going to sit back in zone defense, and Tebow just threw in between the zone over and over.
My biggest problem with this team from a coaching standpoint is that after about the first quarter, they become entirely predictable. They become way too predictable. When the offense, and this reminds me of 2006 with Brad Childress, the scripted plays for the offense, the first 15 or 20 plays, actually aren't bad. They come out of the gate and they aren't bad. And then what do they do every game? They just go back to this predictable offense, and the defense has the same problems too. They get creative early on, and then it's like they rein it back in. Well, you're 2-9 at that point. Why are you reining it back in? Keep doing what you're doing, mix it up, and see if that will work, because clearly what they're doing throughout the season hasn't worked.
So now they're 2-10, and we've been saying for a long time now that really the wins and losses are not how this team is going to be judged. It is something, you eat that cookie that's been sitting there.
There's a cookie right here that looks pretty good, by the way. I deserve something for having to watch this game.
Devin Aromashadu was targeted 15 times, by the way, in this game. I was going to point out some of the positives, which is you continue to see a development in Christian Ponder. He makes two god-awful decisions, staring down throws, throwing it into zones, both get intercepted. You saw some of the positive sides, though, also of Christian Ponder, and that's going to be an evolving process. You saw something on Devin Aromashadu today. That's tough to say.
Say it quick.
Stephen Burton had a couple of catches, 2 catches, 38 yards.
Brandon Burton played.
Brandon Burton played, did not play particularly well.
Yeah, but you know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. To me, you got him in the game. That's what I've been saying. They got to get these kids in the game and see, at least have an idea going into next year or next training camp or next offseason. Have an idea what you got.
And frankly, the first 20 snaps of Brandon Burton's career hopefully are not going to be the best 20 snaps if you're the Vikings that he ever plays. So you get some of those out of the way.
Get him the experience. It's just like with Ponder. Get these guys the experience. By the way, I will say this for Ponder today. He did make 2 terrible passes on the picks. But when he was playing well today, if you're a Viking fan, take far more a solace in what he does than Tebow. Eventually someone's going to figure out Tebow. Tebow's playing terrible teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what Ponder did today, he is an NFL quarterback. How good he's going to be, I have no idea. Tim Tebow is not a National Football League quarterback.
All I know is he had a 149.3 passer rating, no interceptions. He has a long, long release.
He's got an outfielder's throwing motion.
It's Brick Tamlin throwing a trident. You know, an anchorman kills the guy with the trident.
Exactly.
That's what it looks like.
That's a problem if you're the quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
Do they win another game?
No.
Washington's the best shot.
Yeah, and they shouldn't win that game. They shouldn't win. If I'm them, I don't want to win. You get the draft pick. Take the draft pick, walk away. As we both think that Les Frazier's safe, right?
At this point.
Okay. So if Les Frazier is safe, I mean, is one more victory going to save Frazier?
No, I don't think so.
So it doesn't matter.
But you want to see competence, and you don't want to see some of the decisions, and you don't want to see... I think we've seen some of the same recurring things.
I agree, but and the in-game decisions aren't very good at times. I agree.
2-14. I don't think you can rule anything out. I think Frazier is safe. I was told by a bunch of people last week that he is. 2-14. When your owners are big fans, rule nothing out.
I like your theory best. Defensive staff wiped out.
He's Judd. I'm Tom. He'll be out at Winter Park tomorrow. I'll be breaking down the tape. Full coverage as always.
Cookie?
15 at ESPN.com. Take a bite of that cookie, Derry. That's disgusting.
No problem.
See ya.